This is going to be the year when European standards become global standards for internet safety. Dublin is going to become the trust and safety capital of the world this year. I think we were all reminded of the vital importance of information and safety online, because suddenly there was this war in Europe. We all realized the importance of democratic values. And then we could also see on the ground, social media was showing us the war in real time. And it was visceral. It made us feel very deeply connected.
About 80% of all the buildings are ruined. People are trying to find shelters in any other kind of buildings.
I hope these people will pay for the crimes they have committed.
It can take weeks for people to understand the reality on the ground. And in those weeks in the past, that void has been filled with the enemies of democracy, with disinformation, misinformation, and an attempt to manipulate public opinion, the fog of war. In this case, the fog of war was dispelled like that. Disinformation is organized campaigns by governments or political parties or political movements to try and hijack or manipulate. Governments in the West preempted Russian disinformation, didn't wait for it to happen, because if you wait for it to happen, you're too late. Misinformation, that person didn't intend it to deceive you. That's the more insidious problem. All of us have a voice. All of us can tell a story. But the problem is, if everyone can tell a story, who do we listen to? There's a lot of people who are now looking at Zelensky and they take the wrong lesson from him.
Slava Ukraina.
It's not about being a superhero in a movie. It's Zelensky has worked out a way to authentically communicate the suffering of his people, the emotional connection to the cause of Ukraine. So politicians would be well advised not to imagine they're putting on a hoodie. They're going to suddenly get people to connect with them. They've got to connect on a deeper level. I think politicians and journalists who found a way to connect authentically and listening with the voter, not just what people are saying, why. They're the people who are not only going to survive in this social media age, but thrive. It's that emotional intelligence that I see in some politicians that I really get excited by. There's one internet that we all think is the internet, that is generally Western and democratic, and it's Twitter and it's Facebook and it's Instagram and it's TikTok. There's a second internet that's contested in places like Russia, where there's very strong top-down censorship and direction. The third internet is China, where it's completely closed. But in Russia, the power of the state to just close down freedom of expression and convince people through nationalist propaganda to back the war, this will be remembered as a tipping point in the way the world communicates with each other. And it's a really threatening thing for governments to see this form of communication that is all about ground up, not top down. Now, they do have a point that there is an instinctive distrust. We don't have an agreement on a set of ideas and facts that unite the society. At the same time, this ground-up form of communications is potentially one of the best things for democracy, if we can harness it properly. You have more power on your iPhone than you do in the ballot box. If I was a politician, I'd be thinking much more long-term, and that's about having regulation, not what people say. Regulate the processes going on in the background with these technologies to make sure that we know how the algorithms are working when they recommend a piece of content to you. I'd compare it to 2008. The financial system lost control of all these instruments they were using, and the financial system collapsed. We're at that moment with social media, and these people online who sow disinformation are banking on you getting upset or outraged or really emotional. Just take a 5-second breath. Be curious about the sources. If it's a fashion blogger living in LA, they're not going to be a good source on Ukraine. And be kind to those people in your social circle, your family circle, who do fall down the rabbit hole because they need your help. And that's the moment that you're needed most, is to help other people come back into the shared reality in which we build stronger democracy.